Okay, Lineman Brewing Company, independent microbrewery, Undertone lager. It's a dark lager, which I really enjoy. That's up next. Welcome back to Views on Brews. We're just outside of Christmas, coming up to New Year's Eve now. I want a dark lager, something that's a bit more interesting than just a malty, grainy, crackery lager. I want something that has a bit of rich malt character to it. And I love dark lagers. I love Schwartz beers. I love all these different kinds of beers that have box and all these different malty ones that have just a bit more interest than the lighter ones that are possibly just possibly a bit underwhelming at this time of year. So Lineman is a really new, cool, interesting brewery. They've made Undertone, which is a dark lager. It's 4.2%. I'm going to pour it and then we're going to read and see what it says on the side of it. Whoop. I did give this a bit of a spin around, which is I should have let it settle down a little bit. Really nice. It's going to have a decent head on it because, again, it's got all of that rich malt in it, and the malt in a dark lager helps. It has a bit of unfermentable sugar in it, which means you're going to get a bit more stability on the head of the beer. Okay, so let's see what it says. Lineman is Dublin's newest independent microbrewery. We're on a mission to bring fantastic beers using less familiar processes and ingredient combinations. Lineman has a passion for producing exceptional beers, and we hope you enjoy them as much as we do. Head brewer owner Mark Lucy, well known all over Ireland for being a really exceptionally high standard home brewer, giving a lot back to the National Homebrew Club. Everyone likes that fella. Undertone is an unfiltered dark lager. Well, it's going to be unfiltered, so yeah. It does have quite a lot of clarity to it, but it's not perfectly clear. Showcases a smooth, rich maltiness that develops from the combination of Munich malt and an extended cold fermentation and conditioning time. You'll get light caramel, some toastiness, a hint of chocolate on a velvety, smooth, clean lager. That's not the sort of thing you expect to hear about lagers. We've been brainwashed into thinking lagers should all be golden colour, perfect clarity, and in actual fact, if you're like me and you love craft beer, real lagers don't, not all lagers, will say, don't have to be that sort of crystal clear thing. They can have an element of haziness to them. They can have, not 100% clarity. And then, we're never looking at a beer like this and thinking that's a lager until someone actually says, oh yeah, that's a lager beer. Whereas in Germany and other parts of Europe, you'll find lagers brewed like this all the time, and it's matter of fact. And I think it would just be really nice if we can wrap our heads around the idea that not every lager needs to be yellow. It can be this color, which is really nice. It's got this coppery amber color going on. It sort of changes depending on where I hold it up to the light, but it's really beaming bright, coppery, golden, rich, malty, inviting looking, decent amount of carbonation coming off of it, nice rocky head of not off-white foam on top of it. Fabulous looking thing, and it is fairly clear in fairness. But anyway, cheers, sláinte. Let's try it. So let's see what we get. I should see what's on the nose first. On the nose, there's a toastiness, bready, toasty. That's what I'm getting straight away. It's really nice on the nose, especially at this time of year. You can drink beers any time of the year. I'm not a fan of this idea that it has to be the right time of year, but there are perfect times of the year when something just makes it just that little bit extra special, and a dark lager you know, in the winter months to give you a little bit of malty warmth to it. You know, it's a rich one. You know, it sort of begs for you to try it this time of year as well. Yeah, really nice, grainy, rich, malty, bready on the nose. So good, so well made. How do I explain that? Toasty, caramel, rich, not too rich, like medium richness, that it's not cloying rich at all, but has this nice kind of like, you know, very obvious toastiness to it. Like you just could not mistake it for anything else. And that toastiness sort of mixed in with nice caramel touch to it. God, that's such a good beer. And then there's kind of like this bright fruitiness to it, which I don't know, is that like the yeast? But it's kind of got like this nice kind of fruity, like not any specific fruit, but just like a fruity nature to the yeast. I'm expecting it to be that. It just says water, malt, hops, yeast. It would be really cool to know what was in this beer. But it did say something. Hold on now. It's an unfiltered dark lager, showcases rich, smooth. It is rich maltiness that develops from a combination of Munich malt. Munich malt gives all different kinds of toasty, gentle roastiness, but a rich element to it. And it's probably that richness that I'm mistaken for fruitiness. I mean, it just comes across really bright and fruity. So what else? Yeah, and the extended cold fermentation, you'll get a light caramel, some toastiness. So, I mean, you cannot mistake those two things in this beer. Absolutely. Chocolate, velvety and smooth. Velvety smooth. There's definitely a bit of chocolate in the same way you might get like hints of chocolate like in an English bitter on the darker range. But in this one, it comes across quite bright, fruity, rich caramel. This is just a fabulous beer, absolute cracking beer. There aren't enough people brewing dark lagers in Ireland. I know that there's some made around the Oktoberfest sort of period, but I'd strongly encourage you to seek out this beer. Try it. Don't buy one, buy 3 or 4 of them and enjoy it. Sit down and really just enjoy that nice maltiness. It's not heavy, it's a lager, so it's crisp and refreshing, and it has that lager characteristic, you know, as opposed to it being an ale where it would probably be a good bit heavier and a good bit more sweeter, a bit more estery. But this one just comes across so drinkable. Like, I wouldn't mind having 3 or 4 pints of that in one go. I couldn't say that about an ale kind of a version, let's say. But anyway, dark lager from Lineman Brewing in Dublin. Fantastic beers. Cheers, Sláinte. That's going to do it for this one. It's on to the next one. Cheers and bye. And then